Hey guys, thanks for joining me on Chalk with Pickney. Today I'm going to be showing you how I achieved the short braided bob on longer hair. So her natural hair is longer than the bob she's flaunted. I'm going to show you all the mistakes I've made, all the itch, all the glitches and everything in between to achieve this look. So stick and stay with me. The first thing I'm going to be doing is sectioning the hair. I actually sectioned the entire head and tied the hair with rubber bands before I started applying the braids. So what I'm doing now, I'm creating some triangular partitions or triangular sections, whatever you call it. The first part was a section from the top of the ear, one ear, across the back of the head onto the other ear. So I did my first triangular part, and I'm going to use the rubber bands to tie it. I actually had to double the rubber band because I got a brand new pack of rotten rubber bands. I doubled and tripled and they were still popping, but I just prayed with the hope that they would stay intact until I was done or until she was ready to pull out the hair. Okay, so what I'm using now on the back of my hand is edge control, because I have seen from other videos that using edge control allows you to have cleaner parts. Apparently that ain't working for me because my parts are not so clean. However, I must agree with others that edge control really helps you to achieve cleaner parts. That's the only good thing about this edge control, because it left a white residue on the hair and it was not as thick, and it didn't hold the hair as much as the other edge control that I had used before. Mind you, I am not fond of edge control because the first time I ever used edge control, it controlled my edges and my hair. I mean, slavery level type of control, so much that it led my hair into depression and all of my edges left along with some of my hair. I didn't only use it on my edges, I also used it to catch my hair together because it did not cause my hair to be stiff and dry when I used it. So I used it to catch my hair in a ponytail, but after a week or two I could see breakage, rapid breakage, and this was like, as I said before, slavery. This kind of control only happened in slavery. So I'm gonna tell you to be mindful of the products you use in your hair, especially edge control, because it can damage your hair real bad. And that's what caused my hair to be, I don't even know what word to use for my hair, but my hair is in a sham right now because of edge control. So I stopped using that edge control altogether and decided to try some others. So this is just one of them that I am trying. Hopefully it will not do any more harm than the white residue that's happening right now with her hair. So back to the hairstyle. I started out the triangle sections bigger at the back, but I realized it would have been better to make smaller triangles at the top because I didn't want a scanty bob. You know, the bigger the sections, the less braids I'd have in the hair. So I started making the triangles smaller to have more fluff or more braids in the style. I have fast forwarded this to save time. So now I am on to the braiding section. I'm braiding her natural hair in order to achieve a shorter length. Remember that the bob is going to be shorter than her natural hair, so I have to get rid of some of the length from her hair. So what I did was braid her natural hair and then use the crochet needle to loop it beneath her hair. So what I did was put the crochet needle beneath the rubber band, hook the end of her hair and then pull it through. I am grateful for Fiona. For those who don't know, this is Fiona, my sister, who is my guinea pig and will allow me to try just about anything on her hair other than trimming it off. So I'm grateful for her. All of my trial and error hairstyle are done on Fiona and on my children. So back to the hairstyle. Remember, this is my first time doing this hairstyle. I don't do plait braids, so I'm learning, and I hope that you can learn from all my mistakes. So I want them to be chunky. I want the plaits, the single braids, to be chunky. So I used a fat chunk of hair to braid. This was quite challenging. It might not appear to be challenging watching the video, but it was challenging because I had her thick hair and I had to cover it with just one strand of the 3 strands. Remember, when you're braiding hair, it is a 3-strand process, and one of her plait was actually one of the strand along with the braided hair, so that was really thick. So as you can see, this braid is really crooked and uneven, but as I said, this is my guinea pig. This is a learning process, and you can learn from all of my mistakes. Let's go to the other one. As I moved along and went up doing the hair, it became easier because I learned from the last one. It became easier to do because I learned from the latter. At this point, you can see that the gel in the hair, the edge control, is white. It's getting whiter, but this hairstyle wasn't going anywhere. It was just for trial and error. Oh, I jumped the second one, I'm sorry, but it's the same process as the first. I plait the hair. I'm trying to cover her natural hair with the piece of braid, so each time I had to put the braid over it, the extension over it, in order for her natural hair not to pop out. It's still crooked, but I thought this was going to be at the bottom, so it really doesn't have to work. This is not a customer or a client. This is my little guinea pig that I'm trying the hairstyle on. As mentioned before, her natural hair is longer than where I want the bob to stop, so I'm going to do the shortening process. However, this time around I decided to twist the hair because when the hair is twisted, it is softer and more flexible. I also decided to do it in 2 strands instead of 1, so I would shear the hair when braiding it. Rather than having 1 strand really thick, I decided to put it in 2 strands, so I would have 2 of the 3 strands thick, if you get what I mean, instead of 1 whole strand being really thick. So now I'm looping them through to make them shorter, with the hope that this will work so much better than the first 3 that I did. Hi Autumn, that's my princess there. Her name is Autumn, my little niece. Back to the hairstyle. I'm going to apply the extension, and now still struggling to grip. When your grip game is not as good as your braid game, then you need to practice and practice and practice. I tell you from experience. So I'm braiding the hair and I'm trying to tuck away her natural hair beneath the extension. So each time I do a plait, I cover her natural hair with the extension. This is what we call tuck or wrap in the braid world. Now for this one, what I can see here is where her natural hair ends. It's quite obvious. Her natural hair is quite it's quite obvious where her natural hair ends. However, the braid is so much more beautiful than the first 3, so it is improving. This rubber band did not make these rubber bands, they did not make the job easier because I bought a brand new pack of rubber bands and they were rotten, so I had to be doubling up, tripling up in order to tie the hair ends. Okay, we're on to the next braid, and what I decided to do was do 3 strands instead of 2. So I would just share it evenly when I'm braiding. Now it's time to make the natural hair shorter. So again, I am looping them through the root of her hair in order to make them shorter. Now it's time to apply the extension. This should be easier, I thought, because now I'm using 3 strands, which is what we use for braiding here, well, plait braids. So this should be easier. My grip game is getting better. I'm still tucking, I'm still rolling and tucking, trying to hide her natural hair beneath the extension. And it is working. I was so proud of myself for being able to do that braid so much better than the other 4 that I had already done. It's still crooked, but better than the other 4. So, growth. I can see growth. Both of us can see growth. Can't you see growth? Okay, another thing I learned when doing this hairstyle is that the tighter the plaits are, the more the hair will bend under. Or if you were using straight hair, you would have said this sweep or whatever you people call it, but I'm saying the bend. The tighter the hair is braided, there's no such word as bendier, but that just came to mind. Because the tighter the hair is braided, the plait is done, is the more it will bend. So because I was doing the hair tightly, in order to hide her natural hair, I had to do it really tight to tuck away her natural hair beneath the extension. Her hair had this hell of a bend at the end, which I would not have wanted. I would have preferred if it was a little loose, but that's how it turned out. So as I said before, that's a learning process for me. I fast forwarded to this point because I was doing the same thing for all of them until I reached to the top, when I really didn't have to plait her hair anymore, because the end of the braid, the end of the extension would have been longer than her natural hair at the top. So I didn't have to do any individual twist or any individual plait on her natural hair prior to braiding it. So as you can see, I just applied the extension as is. I also went ahead and used the scissors to cut beneath the rubber bands and add those charms. I was anxious to see what it would turn out to be. Usually hairdressers would plait the entire head and then do their cutting and add whatever hair charms they have, but I was anxious to see what it would look like. So I went ahead and I started cutting the ends along the way and applying my golden charms, hair charms. Another lesson I learned from this is how to do the hair, cut the hair evenly or add the rubber bands evenly. I was trying my best to make them even, but it depends on where you're standing and where you want the hair to fall. That makes them most even. My apology for the poor lighting. I started this hairstyle in the afternoon and it got late by the time I was finished, so my natural lighting took away itself and I was left with just light from the bulb. Nonetheless, I still continue to learn after the natural light left. So I'm just saying, back in the days we only had black and white, and now we have colored. So even if the color is not high quality, I'm still appreciative of the colors. Alright, so back to the braiding. I am doing my best with the top of her hair, very gently, because she has tender spots in the top middle of her head. So I had to take my own little time to braid it, and I was falling in love with the braids. The ones at the top that I really didn't have to plait her natural hair to tuck away, they came out really smooth, and you know, the flow was nice. So I was liking it. They also hid the ones at the bottom or at the back that were crooked. So this hairstyle for the first time actually came out better than I had expected. Another thing to take in consideration when doing this hairstyle is the strength of your rubber bands. I got a brand new pack of rubber bands from the hair supply store and they were rotten, so it was challenging. At first I had to double them, and then I saw that one would pop and I'm like, okay, probably the other one would pop too, so I'm gonna double them and triple them and double them again. So that's what I had to do in order to secure these braids. So what you should do is try your rubber bands prior to starting your braids to ensure that you have strong enough rubber bands to secure your braids. So I'm just going to repeat the same process and finish this braid and skip a few, so you're going to see the end product. This is the end product. Fiona thought she should be dolled up in order for me to do this. So here goes. As you can see, the back is very spacey because they are big. They are way bigger than the ones at the top, because I thought that I wanted some big box braids, so I need to part them big. That's wrong. If I had done them smaller to match the top sections, then it would have been full and beautiful. Nonetheless, this is my first time, so I am proud of what I did. Now here's an error at the side, another mistake. When I was cutting that plait, that short plait, I had put it towards the back. So I had cut it towards, not the back, but behind her ears for it to fall over there. Right where I'm putting it now, it was supposed to be somewhere around there. But that's what I did wrong. I should have asked where she wanted it to fall and measure it among or against the others next to her cheek, and then it would have fallen where it belonged. But that I didn't do, so that's another mistake you should learn from. In a nutshell, I learned a lot doing this hairstyle. I learned to do my first bob. I learned how to shorten your long hair to have a short bob. I learned that you should not put big braids at the back because it will be very scanty. I learned that I should cut the hair evenly and place them where I want them to be before cutting. And I also learned that this is not as easy as I see it on YouTube from the other ladies doing hair. So I want you to tell me how much you would give me out of 10, and please don't say 0. Don't let me die. Let me know how much you'd give me out of 10. You can see my other videos if you wish. You can watch some other tutorials and learn with me as I grow to become a better hairdresser. Thanks for watching. I am grateful you stopped by. Please like and subscribe if you have not done so yet.